Since this is all I'm doing for my business today, I figured I'd take you on a ride along and show you how I use uShip to find and quote on items. First of all, let's take a look at the filters. I have Grand Rapids to Minnesota plugged in with an out-of-the-way allowance of about 100 and some miles. I want to make sure I'm looking at all types, not just exclusives. And I had the weight set from 10 to 1,100 pounds, basically trying to accommodate anything that I could handle. Although uShip has some powerful tools for filters, it does not have a good dimensions filter. I checked the bids on this one to see if there were any viable bids, and since the only bidder had no feedback at all, I'm thinking that it's worth placing a bid on this. More than likely, the previous bidder, person who accepted the offer at $300, will not get the job because they don't have any feedback whatsoever. So unless this person wants to take a risk, they're probably going to accept my bid. This is an offer, meaning that the customer already named their price. Most items on uShip are not offers, they are bidding style. But in this case, I have the option to simply say yes or no to what the customer has offered. I need to go check the date. So the 21st is Monday, and that's the date that I'm willing to do this job on. I'm going to mention that in the message that I send directly to the customer when I place the bid. But first, I'm going to select the applicable dates, pick up on the 21st, drop off on the 21st, no other dates. Go down here to the type of vehicle and select uncovered trailer because I won't be putting this inside of my station wagon. Now I have the chance to write a note directly to the customer. This is something that they will see when they get the quote. All right, I can provide a trailer. I'm doing this live. This is all in one take, so forgive the slowness or any little blips here. That will allow for near vertical transport. Probably about 75 degrees. It's a guess, but 75 gives a clear picture of what it will be like. All right, what else? What else do I need to tell the customer? The only date that I have available that matches your dates is Monday, the 21st. All right. Anything else I should tell the customer? I need to do it now. This is my chance. Don't want to add new information later. I could do it during the preceding weekend if that works for you. I'd rather do it on the 21st. I want to suggest that. That's the first suggestion. But if they want to do it the preceding weekend, I can make that happen. So I'm not bringing a second person. I'll be relying on someone at pickup and drop off to help. I'm saying that because I want them to provide it. If they come back with, well, we can't provide it, I will think about whether I want to try to load a 750-pound marble countertop by myself. But I do want them to know that I'm strong and willing to help, right? They're not on their own. If possible, I'd prefer that they provide help. I don't even want to open up the option of me doing it myself unless it seems to become necessary based on their communication with me. So I think that's a good starting point for that bid. It was convenient to the route. Here's a shed. They say it's only 1,000 pounds. The thing is, I don't think that I want to pull a 10 by 10 shed behind my car, even if it is only 1,000 pounds, and there's no guarantee that what the customer stated is accurate. So I'm going to skip that one. I've seen these red wooded phone booth. This red wooded phone booth. There's a picture of two of them. I've seen this up for a while, and I just kind of skipped over it because I didn't imagine myself doing it. I don't really remember why, but at this point, I'm bringing a trailer. I plan to bring a trailer already, or at least I can very easily bring one. So let's take a look. What I'm doing right now is I'm checking the questions and answers from other potential service providers because sometimes I can glean information from that. Get an idea of what the customer is looking for, what they've already said yes or no to, or any clarifying information they've already provided, so I'm not asking redundant questions. Then I can switch the location view so I can actually look at it, and that looks pretty good. Plainwell to Frankfort, Illinois. What I'm trying to do is analyze when will this fit into my weekend, which I already have a couple of jobs scheduled for. So I can accept the offer and give them accurate information on the accepted offer. Now remember, I'm putting in a range, so I can work with the customer to narrow it down further once they accept the bid, if they accept the bid. So for this one, I'm just putting pick up on the 19th, drop off on the 19th, because that seems best to me right now based on my schedule. I need to change the note that I had in for the other item because that's not applicable to this one. So I'm just thinking, what do I need to provide? What information do I need to provide to this customer? I try to keep this to the basics, the things that they want to know to feel comfortable with me taking their item as much as possible. They might not feel comfortable at all with open transport, but I'm going to tell them what I can provide that will protect their item. I'm confident in that, but it's not about whether I'm confident, it's about whether they're confident. So I can provide stretch wrap and a tarp plus foam padding. Thanks for your consideration. So I think that's really all I need to tell this customer. Accept that offer. Name of the game is just to accept or bid on as many things as possible along the route, and then just find out which ones are accepted on the customer's end. I do have a profile with 124 positive feedback, 5 stars. This is part of what helps me to get loads. I am offering contracted work, and if you are interested in working through uShip but you don't want to build up your own reputation, which I would recommend that you do, to be honest. Start from scratch, start from zero, and build yourself up. But if you want to start using someone's profile that is already established, has good feedback, good reviews, that could benefit you, and it could even help you eventually branch out, make connections with your own customers, and build your own business up from that base. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. Obviously, I need to vet you, and I need to make sure that you're someone who will represent my business well, because I would be taking a very small percentage out of what you are earning as a fee, and it's really not worth me doing that for someone who's going to damage my reputation in any way. Obviously, accidents can happen, but I need to know that I'm working with people who are going to represent my business as well as possible. This customer is someone who I have worked with in the past, so I am going to go ahead and reach out to him directly by text and just kind of give him a very honest idea of what I can do. I kind of don't think that he's going to go for an open transport of this couch. I have other customers who absolutely would. Dave has used me for many open transports of similar items, and I've delivered them without any damage. We haven't had any issues due to it being an open trailer, because I do know how to plastic wrap, tarp it, and use the proper types of padding to protect it. But I'm not sure that this customer is going to feel comfortable with that. Either way, now he has the option. I've put it out there. I've spent a couple minutes to take my shot, and we'll see what comes of it. All right, let's scroll down. Right now, I am looking Minneapolis to Detroit. Is that how I started? I don't remember at this point. But I want to look in both directions. There is a way to switch. Just quick flip-flop what we have. All right, so we have someone bidding $778 on this one. It's only 250 miles. $778 is an absurd price for a single pallet that weighs, I think, 100 pounds or so. That's crazy. If he can get it, great. But I'm gonna cut that price in half, because I'm offering what I feel is fair and reasonable, both for the customer and me. I'm not really thinking about what someone else has offered. All I know is that someone else has offered a price that's going to make mine look really good. I'm not really choosing between 300 or 350 or 400 based on how close I think I can get to the other person's price but still win it. I'm just thinking, what's a fair price? What can I offer? This seems pretty straightforward, simple, so I just need to tell them when I'm available, say thanks, and then sign my name, because my profile name is Jimmy Riggs. I think that people, if they're paying attention, like to see the owner's name is actually Jimmy, like this is actually a small business. This shows the huge discrepancy between what people think their items are worth. We have one person there who had listed a horse for $3,000. It was an offer. Someone else, similar distance, listed a horse for, I think, $175, if I remember right. People can have completely different expectations about what they're looking for. And I think if you're asking someone to transport your horse, you should go ahead and put on a good price if you care about that animal. Anyways, here's this carpet. Looks like something that I would have to handle with the trailer. The customer has said that it is 12 inches long. I'm assuming it's 12 feet long. It's very common for customers to make mistakes in the listing. There's absolutely no guarantee whatsoever that the information is accurate. That's one reason that I look through the questions, I look through the photos, I look through every piece of information that I can on that item to try to discern what's actually going on with it. Because there's absolutely no guarantee. Here it says 12 inches, width 1 foot 4 inches, height 1 inch, weight 75 pounds. There is no way that a 1 square foot piece of carpet weighs 75 pounds. This is obviously a roll of carpet that's 12 feet long, is my guess. So now I have to go back in. I had to go double check that, and now I'm going to go back in, and I have to start the whole thing over. So we're going to put in April 20th through April 21st for pickup, same day delivery, April 20th, April 21st. Remember, I can narrow it down, but I need to give the customer the right idea up front. I'm going to put in the relevant information for this customer. The personal note, I think, is important. It takes only a minute or two, and it shows your customer that you are paying attention to their needs. If you just put in a copy and paste response or a note, yes, it will save you some time, but you are not telling the customer that you're paying attention to their specific needs. So I'm telling them I know what item they have, I know what I can do to protect it, what they might want to see it done with it to protect it, given the equipment that I have available to offer. And I also saw the question and answer where they mentioned that it needs to be a cash transaction. I've done a lot of cash transactions for my customers. I've received up to $5,000 or more directly from my customer for the purpose of paying for an item in cash. So I can definitely provide references from other customers for whom I have done that, and they will definitely give me a good reference. I would not recommend taking a uShip provider up on that offer if they can't provide good references. There are bad experiences that do happen on uShip, both for providers and for carriers. Both for providers and for customers. The provider is the carrier. The customer, uShip refers to the customer as the shipper, and they refer to the provider as the carrier. Take a look at this. This is a pool table. I don't have high hopes for this. But again, the name of the game is to put in as many offers as I can on things that make sense to transport, because I never know what's going to be accepted and what's not. So even though I'm very doubtful that this customer will accept my offer on open transport with wrap and tarp and padding, I see that there's a $575 offer that was canceled. That more than likely means that the service provider canceled the offer. Maybe they put the offer out there, they didn't get any response, and then they canceled it so they wouldn't get stuck with a shipment that they were no longer able to accommodate. Either way, there's a canceled quote, and then there was another quote from a customer or from a provider who had not great reviews or something. I don't remember. I remember thinking that there was some issue with their quote that probably wouldn't be accepted. So I'm going to quote $500. if I'm going to do this, it sounds a little bit involved. I'm going to go ahead and ask for a pretty reasonable price here, because I really will put in the effort to keep this relatively complex shipment safe. And it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts that I need to coordinate with them. So if they want all of that, which is good, it's good that they communicated their needs. This is kind of the price that I'm willing to do it at. I'm going to write a note that makes it clear that I'm paying attention, and I obviously was not paying attention there because I said I will wrap your plastic wrap with plastic stretch wrap. I meant I will wrap your pool table. I am voicing this over after the fact because there's no way for me to voice it over as I'm doing it. It's all a screenshot. So I messed up there, but oh well. I think they'll get the idea. And yeah, on this one, again, I'm just putting it out there on the off chance that they are interested. And it does sound, the one thing I did notice is that they're good with communication. They had responded to questions. Sometimes when you look at the questions and there's no response, there's many, many questions, no response from the potential customer, it does tell you that maybe it's a dead listing, or maybe they're just not a very responsive customer, or maybe they kind of read between the lines and they, are able to perceive that the service provider was kind of a tire kicker or a BSer, which does happen too. Maybe they weren't interested in any of these offers. There's one where I almost didn't click on it because I'm thinking, all right, they already have a quote for $245. I don't really want to beat that necessarily. I think I'd even be a little bit higher, or maybe I can beat it by a little bit. But what I do see is that their only offer is from someone who really took a gamble on their profile name. They called it Hauling Bleep Transport LLC. And it's very possible that that's a turnoff to certain customers. It would be to me. I don't think I'd want to hire someone with that business name. So I'm going to take the bet that maybe they haven't accepted that reasonable offer just because they don't like the business name. I'm going to beat the offer by a bit because it is after only 124 miles. After the fee, I'll make $165.20. I'm happy with that. I'd rather focus on gigs that pay a little bit more because once the trailer is used up, it's used up. And I can't do anything else that overlaps that route. So even if it's a shorter route, so I'm not charging a lot, it might make it impossible for me to use the trailer space for a longer route that has overlap. So I'm not too eager to really put bids in on pretty low priced items. But at this point, I feel okay with what I'm making on this weekend trip already. So anything in addition to that is a bonus. 200 is reasonable. Over $1 a mile is reasonable. 165 is a nice little bonus. It would bring my net proceeds up from $450 to $615. That's pretty good for a weekend, and it doesn't totally eliminate the possibility of adding in even more. So this is reasonable. I'm going to go ahead and submit this quote. I want to tell them my preference. I want to give them the other possible dates without making promises. So it can be a little tough to communicate to the customer, to set realistic expectations, to aim towards the dates that I want to see, but also leave it a little bit open if, it ends up being a total deal breaker for them, that it be on a different date. So, all right, I think that the video's over here. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you out a little bit. Please feel free to comment or reach out to me if you have any questions regarding using uShip.